Type Podcast.
Here we go. Hello, around the block and around the world. This is where we discuss, debate, and deliberate all things diabetes. Representing type 2, my name is Dobie Maxwell. Representing type 1, who is she? She's vivacious. She's effervescent. She's always in the know. Ms. Sami Parker. Today's episode of the JMT podcast brought to you by the Diabetes app. Sami, what might that be?
A free diabetes app that brings together both type 1 and type 2 diabetics and provides community resources. And you can find Dobie and me on the Diabetes app, baby.
Sami, our podcast is always an adventure. Today, we are going to be talking to a listener. I love that, don't you?
Oh, always love it, Dobie. Always a pleasure, too, to get them on and for them to share their story. So I'm super excited to announce that we have Miss Joey Wescott. And Joey's from my neck of the woods. Sorry, Dobie, not from where.
So it's around the world to me, around the block to
It's
you.
literally around the block to me. We just discovered that we have some connections. But hello, Joey, and welcome. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited. And Dobie, so Joey has had diabetes basically. Well, actually, do you want to share your diagnosis story a little?
Yeah, actually, so I was diagnosed when I was 13. I'm very lucky to have a mom who actually knew the symptoms. So when I started acting weird, she got me checked up. We had a friend come over who checked my blood sugar and the meter wouldn't even read a number. So I got checked into the hospital, was there for a week. My blood sugar was like 980 when I was checked in.
980?
Whoa, Sami, that might be a record holder. Joey, we always ask people what their blood sugar was, and you're up there with the record. I think you're going to be at least a silver medalist.
Dobie, she broke the record.
She broke it? She broke the record. You're the queen bee, kid.
I'm happy I went that night. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't go then. But then I was in the hospital for a week and they went over what I needed to do and everything's just been different since then.
So what year was that? Was that 7th or 8th grade?
I was in 7th grade. So it was in 2013. It was like October 2013.
Okay.
So your and Sami's story are very similar. You both got it as a kid, and I can't believe you're both handling it as well as you are, because I was in my 40s. I was your dad's age. I was old enough to be your dad when I flipped out and panicked. I don't know how you did it as a young lady, going through all the things, puberty, high school, junior high, whatever it is. So kudos to both of you.
Thank you.
Joey, because I was diagnosed in December of 2012 and I was in 7th grade. But were you born in 2000?
1999.
Okay.
Tonight, we're going to party like it's 1999. For our older listeners, that's a
Exactly.
song. And I know you guys don't know what that is. That was Prince.
I know what that is, Dobie. We're not that
I'm
old.
sorry. I just don't
young.
know. Because you guys are mentioning names that I don't know. So I'm just getting us all on the same page here. I'm assuming you're type 1. I don't want to be an idiot, but you got diagnosed with type 1, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So how did that kind of change your outlook on life through high school and then also through college? And was there kind of like a difference there? I know we had chatted a little before we started talking right now, but in terms of how you approached it, what would you say was the biggest change from high school to college?
I think for a while after I got diagnosed, I didn't process it all the way. So I didn't necessarily make such drastic changes. And I kind of just kept doing what I was doing. But like I was on pens at first. So I just did what I did and used the pens and like did what I had to do and just added that into my lifestyle. So for a while, I didn't really let it change me. But I think it is something that definitely changes you. It took a while, but it caught up with me. And I was like, this is something that I need to make changes for and allow it to like change my life and, just accept it. So for a while, I didn't do anything. And then honestly, only like this past year, I started really taking it seriously.
I have a question for both of you, since you both got diagnosed as in school age. Did other kids make fun of you? Either one of you at some point? Because I know if that was me in my school, nobody in any of my schools ever had diabetes. But I'm sure if somebody did, the meanies, the bullies would have made fun of them. Did that happen to either one of you?
No, I just got more like, so did you get diabetes from eating sugar? I'm like, no, you dummy. I did not get diabetes from eating sugar.
I don't think anyone necessarily like bullied me, but I myself for a while was just embarrassed about it. A lot of people like don't understand what it is or what it comes from. So there just is that negative thoughts with it. Yeah, that they think like you got it because of something you did.
You got it on a toilet seat.
Yeah, no one No one specifically bullied me, but I think I was worried about negative comments with it. So I would try to hide it for a while.
Yeah, and I think it's hard too. Like, we all have done, like, Dobie, you going and doing comedy shows. Joey, you playing soccer. For me, it was dance. Like, there's times that it's just like you're having a diabetes stressful time or case or high blood sugar, low blood sugar. And it's like very taxing to try to continue to do what you're doing and perform at your best when you're dealing with it. And so if people don't understand, it's like, you're almost like, I don't even want to have to explain it. Like, I want to just do it and figure it out and then like try to separate it. But yet it's kind of hard to,
100%.
because it inevitably affects it. Especially, I'm sure, with soccer. Like, how did that work? Were you on a pump when you played soccer? Were you on multiple daily injections or?
So I was on a pump while I played soccer. I am on the T-Slim now, and I've only been on it for less than a year. So, but I got it after I ended. I wish I had the T-Slim while I was playing. So I was just on a Medtronic pump.
I was too before.
Yeah. So the switch was really nice. But honestly, I was really uneducated about a lot of stuff with exercise and diabetes. And I was getting by, but I wasn't doing it right or like in the healthiest way.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I would just take my pump off when I played.
Wow. I was going to say some mistakes that might have made. So if we have anybody that's listening that might be newly diagnosed, because it's easy to do. I'm a type 2 and I did some things and looking back on, wow, why did I do that? Like you said, I didn't know. I learned later. So what advice would you have for somebody in your shoes?
The two main things I learned that were a big mistake were taking off my pump while I played. I just thought, well, for one, I just didn't want it in the way, like while I was playing or exercising.
Yeah.
And then, there's the fear of like getting low blood sugar. So I didn't know about the temp basal rate for a really long time. So that is a much better way to go, to have a lower temp basal when you're exercising than to just take your pump off.
Dobie, a temp basal rate is basically like a full dose would be like, 100% of your basal. And if you do a temp basal, it'd be like, so for 2 hours, you can set it to be only 60% of your full basal rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that instead of like when you were on shots, Dobie, and you took your 24-hour insulin, instead of taking like 10 units, it would give you like 8 for 2 hours, basically.
I got you. Note taken. Thank you for making it.
You're welcome.
Another huge thing that I didn't know for a long time is that when I was playing and exercising, the adrenaline, because it's like a type of stress, would raise my blood sugar.
Oh, yes.
I was always confused. Like, I'm exercising. Why is my blood sugar elevating? And it's because all that adrenaline and stress was like raising my blood sugar. And when you stop, a lot of it will come down by itself because you're going to like calm down and your body will like have it go down. I mean, not perfectly back down, but it will come down a lot. So I didn't know. And I would end and I'd put my pump back on and I'd give a full correction and I would just crash like 2 hours later. I'd be like 40s to 60s.
Yep.
So I didn't know that for the longest time.
And it's crazy. Like, adrenaline does so much, because with dancing too, I took a dance class the other day and my blood sugars went to 380 and I was like, oh, I forgot what dance does to it. And then I corrected and I like went to like 80 and I was like, and we're back. But it's like, it's such a process and it just takes extra thoughts that you don't want to always have to have,
No, it's crazy. And I was upset that no one ever, like, I kind of found that out on my own when I started asking questions and, you just figure out a lot on your own, but it felt crappy that I didn't have like a doctor or some kind of guidance that was helping me with sports, saying like, oh, this might happen or this could happen. Like,
no, I totally get what you're saying.
There's a big lack of like education there for me. So
totally,
I had to find out a lot on my own and it was hard. And
another question for you, Joey. I'm going to pop in here. What was your first impression of your endocrinologist? We have another episode. Sami brought up, it's dating your endo. I mean, how did you match up at your school, kid? And this is a doctor, and they don't always have the best bedside manner.
Yeah. So, I mean, I bounced around. So until I was 21, I was at Children's Hospital. So that was definitely probably the best there because, well, best and worst. I don't know. It was hard because
they only see you for like 10 minutes.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. And I was really young when I was there. And like, again, I didn't necessarily take my diabetes seriously for a long time. So they would tell me things and it would just go in one ear and out the other. I'd be like, okay, let's just get this appointment over with. There was that. So then right out of Children's Hospital, when I got my first regular endocrinologist, it was not a match. I did not.
It rarely is.
Yeah. I liked her as a person. Like we had a good relationship, but she just wasn't doing what I needed her to do. Like in my appointments, she didn't look at my blood sugar trends. She just wasn't like helping me in the way I wanted to be
helped.
Yeah, exactly. But I have an uncle who's a doctor, and I told him like I was struggling, and he says like, I know a great endocrinologist. So he let me meet him, and I've been seeing him now, and I like it there a lot.
What area is he located in?
It's in Glendora. So it's a little far from me, but it's kind of worth it right now. And one huge thing, this bothers me, that these doctors, they don't have diabetes. So they don't know. And it's so different with everyone. And they're just giving me by the book things. And it's like, well, that doesn't work for me because like it works for somebody else.
Exactly.
At this doctor, I see the two receptionists that work there. They're both type 1 diabetics. And it makes me feel a lot more comfortable because
that's nice.
Them having diabetes, like I also don't think they would work for a doctor that doesn't know what he's talking about because they know a lot. They deal with it.
They have it themselves. Exactly. Yeah.
So every time after I see him and I walk out, I'll still always ask them questions as well. And
totally,
it's just nice to have someone there that actually knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
Not just someone that learned it by the book.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I didn't want to interrupt you. I went to Catholic school, and I always thought it was funny that the priests who aren't married would do marriage counseling. So it's the same thing you brought up. If you're an endocrinologist without diabetes, it doesn't do you much good.
Exactly.
It's just hard.
The Diabetes app is an online community platform that was created to help people living with diabetes find support and information in one spot.
And on the Diabetes app, you can join groups and connect with other people all over the world who are also living with diabetes. I mean, for me, whenever I have a bad day, I find myself scrolling through the mental wellness group just to reassure myself that I'm not alone.
The Diabetes app has a resource section where you can find articles, recipes, tips, and tricks for managing your diabetes. Download the Diabetes app today and connect with us right on the app.
DietStrong is an online telehealth platform that connects you to medical and holistic professionals to help you manage your diabetes. Find registered dietitians, nutritionists, certified diabetes educators, and more without the hassle of having to go into a doctor's office.
Wait. You mean a lazy bum like me can have appointments right from my computer? Sign me up.
That's right, Dobie. And this week, our listeners can use promo code JMT25 for 25% off their first visit.
Yeah, don't try to cheat and go to JMT26 because you're not going to get 26. It's 25. Go to www.diastronghealth.com. That's www.diastronghealth.com.
So, Joey, in terms of like college, I know we both just basically graduated. And we've had it for like the same amount of time. Did you have any I hate to touch on it, but we do have an alcohol episode with diabetes. And I'm always curious because I think I've said this before, but when you deal with type 1, your drinking scenario isn't just the same as somebody else's. So it is in a way like you can do whatever you want, but yet like people take it more seriously. So if I was, if I'm more drunk and somebody else is drunk, like if they don't have diabetes, nobody cares when they go to bed. But if I'm drunk, it's like the end of the world is happening. Everybody's like, oh my God, is Samantha okay? And I'm like, guys, I'm fine. I'm the same as you guys are. So I'm curious, how did you kind of deal with that? What have you found to be like the best way for you to deal with that scenario in college?
Well, for my first 2 years of college, I was kind of still in that phase where I wasn't taking my diabetes super seriously. Also, before I was on the Dexcom, I was not good about checking my blood sugar. So it was kind of just like an out of sight, out of mind situation with me, which I know is not good. But honestly, also for a while, I didn't know that alcohol affects your blood sugar. So I didn't think it to be like anything bad. I'm not a huge drinker or partier, like at all. Like that's very rare for me. But being in college, I did definitely go out with my friends a couple times.
For milk and cookies and to read the Bible, I'm sure.
Exactly, yeah. There was one night that it was like my worst night, drinking. Like it definitely was like the drunkest I've like ever been. But at that time, I wasn't checking my blood sugar, nor did I know that the alcohol affects my blood sugar. So I didn't think anything of it, got super drunk. I don't know. I passed out. I went to bed. Everything was fine, thankfully. But now that I know it affects your blood sugar, I just make sure it lowers your blood sugar. And I have now kind of like noticed that. So I just make sure like I eat a little bit of carbs or something like when I'm drinking.
I mean, I get it because in the alcohol episode, it's funny because I think people listening are like, oh my God, Samantha's an alcoholic. I'm like, no, it was like 3 times ever really in college that anything ever happened.
Yeah. Freshman, junior, and senior.
Yeah. And it's so funny though. I think people hear it and they're like, wow. And I'm like, no. Like those are like all my stories. I just back to back to back.
Yeah.
But like same thing. It was like I had my friends all were aware of it and I was aware of it. But you know, you also want to try to like feel like I'm in college. Like I wanted to have the one night that I'm having fun like anybody else. But it is scary because when you think about it and you're like, what if I went low and I wasn't awake and I just fell asleep?
Yeah.
Now, did your friends know that, Joey, as you're partying with your friends, that you have diabetes?
They do. All my friends know. And at this time, it was scarier because I didn't have the Dexcom, which is like now way better. Because if
Lifesaver.
I were to fall asleep, you know, I sleep with my ringer on. That will always wake me up. Like, thankfully, I'm a pretty light sleeper. I'm just really thankful. Like this one time that I got like super drunk, nothing happened.
Yeah.
But I think because it was after a soccer game and my blood sugar was probably already really high.
Yeah.
A lot of factors going in there.
Yeah.
There always is though.
Exactly.
And we have another episode. I don't mean to keep plugging, but we have a lot of episodes. We had a lot of good points and talking about dating with diabetes without revealing your personal life. A significant other, has it been an issue? If you have somebody that you're dating with, I mean, do they deal with your diabetes well, not well? Do they overcompensate?
I've been with the same person for 6.5 years now.
Wow.
So definitely knows a lot about it. Sometimes I wish he did a little more, but at the same time, I don't. So diabetes is just a weird thing for me. Like I want to be treated normal and I just want to like, you know, take care of it, but act like it's not such a big deal. But then at the same time, like it is a big deal. So
yeah,
I'm kind of up and down. Like I want him to be really involved. I also don't. So I don't know, but he definitely knows everything that's going on. And of course my Dexcom shared with him. So
yeah,
it's just nice to have him and know that he knows what to do if anything goes wrong.
Well, Sami came up with a great concept called, and I give her full credit because it's so brilliant, called playing the D card. And that means when it's convenient for you,
you got to pull the D card.
You got to pull the D card. Sami, you want to explain it to Joey so she knows?
So pulling the D card, it's like, okay, like in middle school, right? You know, like did you guys have to put your backpacks in the lockers?
No.
Okay, so we weren't allowed to have our backpacks in classrooms with us in middle school.
Interesting.
Really weird. But I was like, well, I'm diabetic. I have to carry on my backpack.
Right.
Even though like I really didn't need to. So it's just, you got to use it to your advantage. And yeah, that's kind of what I was like, all right, I'm going to use it to my advantage. So basically with that being, you do it in different scenarios. Like I did that we got ski lift tickets and we waited in the line for literally 2 hours. And then my mom was like, my daughter's diabetic and her blood sugars were 300, which they were. And we just want a refund because we literally went on one run and it was ridiculous. And she can't just wait in all these lines. So they gave her the refund. So it's when it works in your favor. But have you had any of those instances?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm the queen of pulling the D card.
Yes.
We are going to send you one, young lady.
I feel like I deserve that. You know, we go through
Yes.
all this stuff. Like if I need to like pull it out and use it as an excuse for something,
Yeah,
I do it. I do it most chance I can get. I've never like lied because it always is. I always like, I need this because of my diabetes, or I can't do this, my blood sugar. So
amen.
Sometimes it is nice. Got to use it to your advantage.
Now, how was it moving away from home with you have diabetes? I mean, obviously your family, when you're living at home, they get it. But when you're out in the big world, they don't know, they don't care. How did you cope with that?
Well, I would say my mom helped me like a lot when I first got diagnosed. She helped me a lot.
Same.
She really likes to be involved and helped. Like sometimes I forget the things that she did. Like she'd come into my room in the middle of the night to check my blood sugar and like
3 times in the middle of the night. Yep.
Yeah. She just like was totally there for me and helped me a lot. So I was a little nervous, you know, to leave like that support, but I'm also a very independent person. So at the same time, I wouldn't say like excited was the word, but like I knew that I was going to be able to, you know, go on and do it by myself and find different support.
It almost gives you like not a break, because I don't like to use that, but like a separation of like, okay, I got to manage it now, like for myself.
Exactly.
And it's like, I have to learn and I have to see how I can cope with it, because it's great. And like, I say I love my mom more than life itself, but it can be a lot sometimes when they want to ask, and I get it. I won't understand until I'm a parent, but it's a lot. And so I was like, I'm just curious what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
with like nobody asking me anything.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely still helped me when I left. She always made sure I have like all my supplies, and like she was still there, but she wasn't right there. So
Yeah.
it was an interesting transition, but it was good.
No, I totally get it.
Both of you, managing your diabetes is a self thing. I mean, it's good to have parents, but I come from a totally different thing. I was on the road doing comedy by myself at your age, early 20s. I would have had no way. I could barely manage my own life, much less diabetes. I think some people, it could be overwhelming to them if they don't have the family structure that you both did. So do you find now that you're by yourself and evolving, is it a chore? Is it easier for you? What do you do? So it can help somebody listening if they're overwhelmed like I was.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
As much as it's so great with having people help you, and it's amazing, especially when you're younger. But I don't know if you feel like this, but I think that when you are diagnosed at a younger age, inevitably you are more independent as you get older with things.
100%.
I say this lightly because my sister is very independent, but I'm more like, no, I got it. I can do this by myself than her. And I strongly believe that's because of the diabetes. Nothing to her. She is like very strong and determined and motivated. But I just think like I would be able to like, yeah, just function more on my own. I'm very more independent. So I think it's interesting because if you don't have a structure at home, it would be really tough younger. However, I do think that you learn a lot and it makes you excel in a lot of areas that otherwise not people can lack, but if you're being spoon-fed everything till the age of 25 with it, then it can be hard to learn. So I think it's like a pro and con and kind of like it transitions. You really want the support. You still want the support. Like my mom still gets my prescriptions, bless her heart. But
would she get mine too?
Yeah, Dobie, we can send them.
Joey's too, maybe.
But then it's like it transitions. It transitions from that and kind of like, okay, mom, I love you, but like you gotta stop looking at my Dexcom because my blood sugar's high. I know it's high. It's not going to change if I keep looking at it. So like, let's just like maybe
100% agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it definitely makes you mature a lot faster. And you almost, yes, the support is very nice, but you almost also like want to do it by yourself because you can. And it's just also a little bit easier to do it by yourself.
Totally is. And do you ever notice like with your boyfriend, is it funny if like sometimes when he says something and you're like, yeah, thanks for like reminding me. And then other times it's like, okay, I got it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I want him to be involved, but like, I don't want him to be involved.
It's like annoying. You're like,
it's hard.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Yeah. Like when my mom's like telling me your blood sugar's high because her phone's beeping. I'm like, yes, mom, I know. Like, I had a piece of cake, okay? I knew it was going to go high and I'm going to fix it, okay? I got it.
I'm human.
Oh, I get the, are you 40? No, Dobie, I get the one.
So now my Dexcom is letting me know and my mom is letting me know. And like, I don't even want to know.
Dexcom, Dex Mom.
Oh my God.
That's a good one, Dobie.
Dex Mom.
She's the Dex Mom. Oh my God. That might be like a tagline right there.
We could use it. You never know. Well, good thing. We're at the end of the clock here. Joey, thank you so much for joining us. You were absolutely fantastic. And I know you were a little bit, I don't want to say apprehensive, but you didn't, not used to talking about your diabetes. That's why this podcast exists. We want to be friends, hanging out. We're so thrilled that you listened. We appreciate it a lot.
I know.
It was nice. Thank you guys so much.
And we are so happy that you came and chatted. And I'm so happy now I have a new friend right around the block from me.
Yeah.
Okay, question of the pod. It's when were you diagnosed? So we know you were in, what did you say, October 2013?
Yes.
Wow.
October 2013. I was in 7th grade.
Your diaversary.
Diaversary.
Yeah.
And Dobie, what year was yours?
2011 on Father's Day.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual, but I don't know the exact date, but I know it was Father's Day on that Sunday. Sammy, when was yours? Do you remember what time of year it was?
December 2012. So we went 2011, 2012.
Merry Christmas. You have diabetes.
Literally. I was like, wow, what a great present. Thanks, Santa.
Yeah. Good. Hope you have sugar-free candy canes and cookies this year.
I'm like, Mrs. Claus better make sugar-free cookies this year.
Well, he's probably diabetic. I think Santa's probably a type 2, don't you think?
Yes, probably.
At this particular point.
For sure, maybe gestational. No, I'm kidding.
Good one.
So, yes, please answer the question of the pod, you guys. We'd love to hear your response. You can answer and share with us on our social media on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at JustMyTypePod _ Facebook at JustMyTypePod and our hashtag JustMyTypePod. Again, please rate, review, subscribe, and share your story with us on our website. We want to hear your diagnosis story. It's so awesome. I got into contact with Joey, honestly, because we just ended up talking over Instagram, and it was great.
And the stranger, the better. I mean, mine, listen to our very first episode, the diagnosis stories. Mine is out there with the weirdest ever. If you can top mine, you don't have to top it, but if you're out there, the more unusual.
If it's memorable, share it with us.
The more unique, the more memorable, that's a good word, the better.
Yes.
We want to have you come on. So that's a good thing too. And the shout outs to, we do listen to when somebody said, at the every episode, you always say, Sammy's going to put the cherry on the sundae. That better be a diabetic friendly cherry and a sugar-free sundae, an organic cherry.
Exactly. And you can find Joey at Joey Wescott on Instagram, right?
Right. Thank you.
Yes. So please give us a 5-star review. We want to get the diabetes community together, starting the conversation, and we want to get it going. So, Dobie, I think that's it.
All right, let's put the organic cherry on the sugar-free sundae, Sammy.
Thank you. Say la vie, baby.
This is the Just My Type podcast.